Pamela, are you there? Pamela? Victor, I can see you. But do you have the link to the survey that Pamela sent?
Do I need to pause the Facebook streaming?
No, I don't think so. We're waiting for people to join. In a few minutes, we'll start. But I needed to make sure that we have the survey ready as well.
Harry, can you share the link, the direct link? Just click on the link and send the correct direct link so I can send to those that are having issues to log in.
Okay.
Just send to me on WhatsApp.
Can everybody hear me? I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. I'm not hearing me. We'll start in 2 minutes. Trying to see if everybody can join. Can you all see my screen? So before I start, let me welcome all of us to the call. We wanted to give people a little time to join. I want to believe that all of you can see the screen that I'm sharing.
Yes, we can see the screen, sir.
Okay. I think we're right on time, so we have to get started. Our time is fast spent. So welcome again to this edition of our discussion. And today we wanted to start the series on the JAPA syndrome. And I wanted to make it very interactive. So what I propose to do is to lead the introduction. I made a few slides to guide our discussion and then make it interactive so that everybody can contribute in one way or the other. JAPA syndrome, matching life's purpose with migration agenda. So the essence of this is to discuss the JAPA syndrome in the light of migration agenda. And our outline is, what is JAPA syndrome? Why is it a leadership problem? Who is most affected by this syndrome? And what can be done about it? Good. What can the displaced do while in exile or quote? What is the place of time management and the place of vision and mission in the whole agenda? Is there any plan for reverse JAPA? If there is, what is the strategy? What is the timeline? So these are some of the things that we are looking at. And the background to this whole discussion is that Nigerians are fleeing their country in their thousands is no longer new. Everybody, even the dead, knows that Nigerians want to go anywhere and live everywhere but Nigeria. And most of the people affected by this ugly trend are the youth and young graduates, people who still have the strength of youth to be able to contribute to national development, looking for opportunities to flee their country. And the reasons for this are obvious. Survival in search of greener pastures. People don't just travel, it's driven by economics. A recent visit to the market left me in no doubt, and I have no doubt will leave you in no doubt too, that the country is in a bad shape right now. Even just thinking about current exchange, I think last week or the week before, dollar exchange for 1,500, 1,500 naira to $1. That is better imagined than experienced. But the government even seems to be either challenged by the situation or be not really ready to do something about it, or probably doesn't even know what to do. I don't have all the answers. The basic necessities of life have become luxury to many people around this country. The Naira has practically failed the people. The labor unions, everybody is angry. So what can the poor man do? Again, remember what JAPA syndrome is. JAPA came from a language, from the Yoruba language, to escape, to run away quickly, to disappear, to flee. And the Nigerians have now given JAPA a definition that is a Nigerian definition. The continued mass exodus of Nigerians to a foreign country in search of greener pastures and better opportunities, oftentimes without any intentions whatsoever to return to the country, dead or alive. I know people who have told their families when they die, they must not be brought back to Nigeria. That's how ugly, how bad they feel, that's how ugly this situation is. And then what are some of the immediate causes of this? High youth unemployment, insecurities everywhere, high cost of living. A model of rice now, and I don't know how much they were talking about the model of rice. He said, so the poor. Last time I joked, I was talking to my friend and I said I was thinking about buying a couple of bags. He said, no, don't say a couple of bags in him. Get one bag first before you talk about a couple. Because by the time you're talking about a couple of bags of rice, it's over 100 and something thousand. How many Nigerians make 100,000 naira in a month? Inflation rate is off the roof. Immediate causes. I call it leadership leprosy when I say that the government itself seems to be confused. Insensitivity from the side of the political class. There is lack of leadership hygiene. Nobody is taking ownership for this. Or even if they're not doing enough, at least to be seen by us as if they are doing something. There is lack of faith now in the political class. When the people that you look up to have taken their families abroad, before your own very before. In your own very eyes, you can see that the people you want to be like have moved their whole families abroad. What are you waiting for? There is looming total system failure. And the body language of the elite and the political class suggests that that should be the thing to do. Why is it a leadership problem? Because leadership is about inspiring and motivating people around a common vision. My question then would be, what is the Nigerian vision? Let's even put a year to it, 2050. What is Nigeria's vision 2050? Is there anything like that? If we have, what are we doing about it? Where are we with it? How tenable is that? Political leaders are saddled with the responsibility of the state. So it is the responsibility of our leaders to take care of the state, to make sure that the people have basic necessities of life. The fundamental human rights, are they in place? Why? Why have they become luxury? So you see why this is a leadership problem. There is high unemployment. Insecurity is the order of the day. Banditry. All of this cannot fester if there are no sabotages within the arms of government. And when hope is lost, the game is over now. So when Nigerians have lost hope in their country, why wouldn't they look elsewhere? This decadence we're talking about, it's an endemic situation. It didn't start last night. Because the architecture of our political system needs to be totally overhauled. There needs to be a re-engineering of our leadership arrangement within this country. And so if these things have to happen, like I said, the engineering has to happen. There has to be hygiene where we're able to hold ourselves and our leaders accountable. We have to let the people lead. And we have to let the poor breathe. If we don't invest in job creation, and we're not getting our priorities right, and the analog people are still in digital position, we're not going anywhere with it. So long as we continue to count what doesn't count and refuse to count what counts, this problem continues, and other problems that look like it. And so the essence of this meeting is don't travel. No, that's not the essence. The essence is not even travel. No, we're not saying that. Nobody has the right whatsoever to tell anybody whether to stay or to go anywhere. But we just want to make sure that we're having these kind of conversations to be able to ensure that those who want to make this journey, make them informed, make them the right way. And I am trying to leverage on my experience and the experiences of some other people that I already know to be able to have this kind of conversation and be able to ask ourselves within a forum that we create for ourselves on what and how we need to engage in a process like that. What you must know before you JAPA, if you must JAPA. My suggestion to that is that we read about the place you are going to. You need to understand, leverage the internet and the information and events and the social media that everybody has become part of to understand what is happening where you're going and what has happened where you're going. Go back to even the days of slavery, I don't care, and understand the system, because there are certain places you will go, even in the United States. You feel like, you think we are in 2024. No, they are still in 1968 there. Because the issues with which Martin Luther confronted in the 60s are still looking at you in the face even now. But if you don't know, you'll be shocked when you find yourself in that kind of a place. I give an example. Somebody wants to go. When I was a young man, wanted to go and do PhD at the University of Mississippi in Oxford. I had no idea. I just saw the beautiful name, beautiful pictures. So I could have gone just because, oh, it's Mississippi, it's United States, it's in Oxford, whatever. Without knowing the background of the community or the city or the place or the people, I could make a big mistake. I'm just using that as an example. Even I remember the first time I went to the University of York in northern part of England. Some young men saw me at the mall and they were following me. They were following and looking at me like, where is this one from? So when I asked their mom, she said, it's their first time of seeing a black man. You know, so stuff like that could be a little embarrassing, to say the least. But those kind of things happen, and I had no idea. So as you JAPA, you have to understand that you yourself have to have your own agenda and be in control of your own agenda. And this is important. Because even though you are going to look for greener pastures, and the pastures could be green, for real, that's fine. But even from scriptures, we know that there are some pastures that look green, but they're not green. One scripture that I always remember when I think about the JAPA syndrome is the story of Lot in the Bible. I apologize to those of us who don't read the Bible, but I'm going to use the Bible to illustrate my point here. Lot and Abraham in that scripture had to part at some point. And because they had grown big and they began to quarrel, and Abraham said, let there be no quarrel. Now, what happened is that Lot looked at the east and he saw that the grass was green. And he said, I want to go. Can I go east? Because in his mind, the grass was green. His flock will have enough grass to feed on. But he had no idea it was the way of Sodom. So if you don't know that scripture, you can go and Google the story of Lot in the Bible and see how he ended, where the grass looked green. And this is part of the reason that we're having this kind of conversation. So that when you go, part of the idea is be strategic. And some of the questions I was asking here, for example, I said, could JAPA be a modern day slavery strategy? I don't know. Who are benefiting from this whole JAPA syndrome? Politicians? Or you? Could it mean they are deliberately doing nothing about it and forcing you to JAPA because there's something for them to benefit? Is this another shade of slavery, but packaged differently and labeled differently to where you even volunteer to it? You remember that even slavery itself could not have succeeded without a local accomplice. Now, have you studied and understood what is expected in the country of your destination? What if you don't find the job you so desperately need for the first year or two overseas? What if even the job that you find when you get there derail you from your career and from your profession entirely? I know you want to make money, and I know that you can make money doing anything. But is that what it's about? Is your life just about going to make money? What is your plan B in case your journey does not go as expected? Is your plan robust? Is it agile? Is it resilient? These are some of the things I want you to be thinking about as we have engaged in this kind of conversation. And don't forget also that life in a foreign country could be sweet, but it could also be bitter. Or sometimes it could be sweet and bitter also. The problem is not that Nigeria is bad. Nigeria is not bad by itself as a country. It is the people in Nigeria that make Nigeria bad. It's the decisions of people, the collective decisions and actions and activities of people in Nigeria that make Nigeria bad. So in every country, you have the good, you have the bad, you have the ugly. So even that country of your dream has good, bad, and ugly people in it. And so you could experience bad things in a good place. So even overseas, the Igbo people say that is the test, the sound of the bitter cola and the taste of the bitter cola are two different things. So living abroad could be like the bitter cola. The taste is different from the sound in the mouth. Some people make it, some don't. But everybody has a story. And so you will have a story. Even as you decide, if you decide to go, you will have a story. And we all pray and wish it will be a good story. But even if your own story is good, you will hear people that didn't have good story. But one thing that I can assure you for free is that when you do travel, you will be forced to do, or you will be faced with the options to do what you could not imagine yourself doing. I give an example. The kind of job that you are looking for may not come, but the bills are coming. What are you going to do? You take a job that is available. I remember when I first went to England about 20 years ago, I was looking for a job from the agency. I went to the agencies until I was begging them to give me anything. What job do you have? Whatever you have, give me. I will do. And they didn't have anything for me. They all knew my name. I remember even those days I was a PhD student, still in England, and I was working in the warehouse. And the guy that was supervising me didn't even have GC. They didn't have CUSA. But he was my supervisor. So every time he gave me shift that competed with my studies, he told me that the business did not hire people to study. They hired people to work. And so you can choose between one or the other. So I had to deal with all of that. I had to take for people that didn't like me, that looked us in the face and said, there's no black British man. Oh, really? But I had to deal with that. So can I be honest with us? That the journey we want to embark upon is laced with unpredictabilities and uncertainty. And that's why we are talking about this. It's because of the unpredictabilities and uncertainties that are laced within this whole package that you need to make the decision informed. A lot of people that you think are doing well overseas are actually stuck overseas. Some want to come back, but coming back also is not easy. So when you go, someday you will realize there is nowhere like home. Someday you will realize that there is nowhere like home. And so when the home front is not good, running away is only a temporary measure. At some point, we have to still figure out how do we make our home home. Nobody wants to discourage you, and nobody can discourage you from your JAPA plans. But just have a plan B and make sure that your plans, your goals, your strategy are smart. Before anybody builds a house, they draw a plan now. Before you start a business, you have to have a plan, brother. And then you want to JAPA without a plan. How is that smart? You want to spend the next 10, 20 years of your life in a foreign country, and you don't have a solid plan that covers that period of time. That's not smart now. If you are going to do masters, for example, that's a good one. Because most times I recommend people to go with students, it's easier to go with a student visa. But then you have to have some money. If you're going to England and your school fees is not intact, you're going to be having problems. Because they're demanding pressure on you. They did on me, so I'm talking from experience. So your JAPA plan has to cover you beyond the days of school, assuming that you're able to figure out how to keep up with your school fees to be able to graduate. Because at the end of the day, in some of these countries, the only thing they promise you is certificate at the end of your program if you paid your school fees. So what is your JAPA plan? How robust is that? Is the vision that you have for your life in line with this plan? Because we called it, we are trying to match life purpose with migration agenda. So you have to look at it holistically and on a long path to be able to decide how to engage and what you are spending and how to be able to assess how well you are doing. It's a big project. And I am not really so much worried about the money involved. It is the time that I am more worried about. Because the greatest resource we have available to us as humans is time. And overseas, let me tell you, time flies. So is this your JAPA mission in line with your dream for your life? It's a big question. I don't have the answer. So, but one way you can answer it is to ask yourself, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? What do you see yourself doing 10 years from now? If you JAPA without a plan, and then you just take any job so you can pay your bills, before you know it, you'll be doing that job that you just do for the next 5 years. And then suddenly you realize that it is not adding value to you. You suddenly realize that you have been able to touch a few dollars and pounds. Maybe you were able to buy a decent car or get a house or do a few things, and you feel good by yourself. 5 years from now, you look backward and you realize that you are actually slaving for nothing. What measures have you then put in place to evaluate yourself and to see how well you're doing? And how do you define success? How do you define success? How are you going to measure yourself for success? So I said that your objective must be smart. It must be specific. Sit down by yourself and write your objective for your JAPA idea. It must make sense. You can measure it. Is it achievable? Those days when we are about to JAPA like this, there were people who were telling us about how they paid 10 pounds an hour in the UK. We converted it in Naira, it was a lot of money. It was 200 Naira that time, I don't know, something like that. And I said, they pay me this per hour. Oh man, I was gonna work for 36 hours a day. No, the day only had 24 hours. And I have to sleep, and I have to read. I have to do other things. So I didn't have 36 hours to work. So we all had grandiose ideas about how much we're going to make. 4 years down the line, when I left England, I don't know how much of that I had achieved. Is it relevant, reasonable, realistic? By all means, put some time into it. Put some time into it. It must be time bound. Nothing can be more. If you don't take anything from this meeting today, take from me that your journey, your JAPA arrangement should be smart. Make it smart for yourself. And if you need help making it smart, talk to us. Dealing with uncertainties. I know that's what they call SACBA also. It's a possibility from JAPA. And that's why you have to be smart. That's why you have to plan. That's why you have to put contingency arrangements in place. Because JAPA could turn to SACBA. So I already told us about the story of Lot. I want Lot to teach us and to guide us today in our discussion. And the grass could look green on the east. And to the east, Lot went, oblivious that it was the way of Sodom. There is a way that seems right, but it might lead to doom. And we don't want that to be our lot. We don't want that to be the portion of people that we know, that we love, that we care about. But modern day slavery is real. It's real. It's real. Some of these JAPA could serve the same purpose. Just that the word slavery is no longer fashionable. So nobody calls it by its name. But when you get there and see what our people are doing in different parts of the world that I have been and seen, I don't think anything could be better. There could be a better word to describe some of the experiences than slavery. Same mission, same package, different strategy. People are just picking cuttings in some places in the modern day plantations. So the question, any strategy for reverse JAPA? So assuming that you decide to go, again, like I said, if you want to go, it's okay to go. It's okay to go, you could be successful going. There are a lot of opportunities to leverage, but you have to know what you're going to do. You have to plan and then be prayerful about it. But if you want to come back, then you have to build that into the plan from the beginning. And I can suggest, even if right now you don't want to come back, I will probably suggest that you build coming back as a contingency arrangement, because there may be need for you to leverage that down the road. 5 years from now, you may realize that you might be better off this way than that way. And so if you have built it into the arrangement and you have made sure that some of the skills you acquire over the years are also going to be relevant here, then it gives you the opportunity to leverage. Leverage is the one. So time is the greatest resource that we have. Oversee time flies. Once you step your feet in the country of your destination, you are on the clock. The clock ticks. Even there, they pay you by the hours. In Nigeria, you come to work and you're peeling melon. You come to work to browse on your Facebook. You come to work to, when you travel abroad, you see what you work. You go to work here and you work. Before the white man gives you $1 or pound, you have put in the work. And you're on the clock. So suddenly you realize the urgency in everything, or you pay for it. 5 years will fly you by like a plane. So the way to start is to have an exit plan on arrival. If I tell people that the first day I got to England in October 22, 2004, was the same day I began to plan to leave. But it took me almost 4 years to achieve that. In fact, 4 years on the dot to achieve that. But because I knew what I wanted to do, and I prayerfully followed through, and I refused I could have left earlier, but I didn't want to leave earlier. I wanted to leave honorably. I wanted to leave, in a way that is dignified, in a way that I'll be able to build a career. Then I waited and worked myself through, and then left 4 years after. So do you really want to come back? It's a big question. Most people don't, and that's okay. Most people don't, and that's fine. But if you do, then plan it, put it into the plan from the beginning, or as early into the beginning as possible. Because soon you realize that it's better to be a first-class citizen in your country than to play a second fiddle role in another. Do you understand your potentials as a person? Let me talk about potential for a minute. One of the problems I have with our people overseas is that a lot of us do not have the opportunity to live life at full potential. A lot of us do not have the opportunity, even in the workplace, to function at full potential. I know that opportunities like that are not given, they are taken. But you don't even have a lot of opportunity to be able to take up the opportunity to live life. So If your newfound country does not guarantee you life at full potential, then you have to re-strategize. The playing ground is not going to be level, and you must understand it. So even if you are already at a level within your country, by the time you move to another country, you have to go down. You must be ready to go down, and then come back up from there. Maybe over time you'll be able to come up. Some do, some don't. Some have good stories, some have tales of woe. What is your timeline? There is timing in everything, people, and there is everything in timing. What is your timeline? How long do you want to stay abroad? Think about it from the beginning. And what do you want to achieve while you are there? And how do you want to disengage when you disengage? African time does not work overseas. Let me tell us. African time, this one, they say, oh, the meeting is going to start by 5. And by 5, you say, oh, it is just 5. Let me go and shower. It doesn't work overseas. So, even, and this is even one of the reasons that someone like me would like most people to travel abroad. So at least even if they don't learn anything, they learn to show up on time and to show up ready for the day. Before you know it, 10 years have passed by. And then you'll be wondering, what have I even done? Where did time go? So if you need help, or you feel stranded overseas, or you feel stuck in your decision making about these things, or trying to weigh your options, we'll be happy to talk to you and help you to figure out the best steps. But where you see yourself is very important. Again, I didn't want to dominate this whole discussion so we can have a lot of interactions. But before I throw it open to the rest of us to contribute, I want to say a few things. Number one, I am a firm believer that the future believes in Africa, belongs to Africa. A lot of people may disagree with me. I didn't say Nigeria, I said Africa. Even your dream country probably agrees with me. But how that affects you and your vision and your dream could be a different ballgame. How it affects different individuals could be a different ballgame. But I believe that the future is here in Africa. Number two, if it is not so, why do you think that your country, the common countries we want to travel to, have so much interest in Africa? The human resources, the material resources, everything that we have in Africa, that the world needs for the next generation is in Africa. Everything that the world needs to move to the next level is in Africa. Untapped resources. So if you have access in Africa and who have entrepreneurial mindsets, whether in Nigeria or overseas, and people of African origin or connected to Africa, achieve what you came to do. And then know what the next level is for you. And then figure out how to move to the next level. If you are waiting for the time to be right, it will never come. You will have to make the time right. Oftentimes, you have to make the time right for the next level to happen. But one thing that you must not deny yourself is to be focused, be disciplined, be sensitive, be smart. If you don't take anything again away from this discussion today, take this particular word from me. Now, to be successful in Nigeria, in Africa, overseas, in your masters in England, in Canada, anywhere you want to go, you have to be focused, you have to be disciplined, you have to be very sensitive, and your objective must be very small. The skills that you want to acquire, you have to find a way to domesticate them, because the market, in whichever field and area that you specialize abroad, is in Africa, in the next generation. The market is here. There is enough room at the top for us if we can harness our skills and work synergistically as a people of vision. It doesn't matter what is happening. It will, at some point, somehow the system will reset itself. But if we continue to demand what we want and refuse to be cajoled, people, there is money everywhere. There is money everywhere. So money is not in the place. Money is in the people. We need to leverage. On that note, I'm going to throw this floor open so that we can start having some kind of interactions. I'm happy to take all the questions, and I'm happy to get all the feedbacks. But remember, the topic is the JAPA syndrome, how to match life's ambition or life's purpose with the migration agenda. Thank you. Bona, over to you.
Okay, very powerful presentation, sir. And I don't know if you have questions based on the presentations that have been made so far. You can raise your hands or you ask your question through the chat box. I'm sure Doctor will be more than happy to give a response to your question. Question. Okay, you can unmute yourself and go ahead with the question, Stella.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Okolo, for this presentation. My apologies, I will be unable to turn on my camera at the moment. So I ask for your permission to speak without my camera on.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Wow. You have just nailed the, how do they put it, the hammer on the nail. I really wish this what do I call this? I really wish this presentation was actually aired live, perhaps on on African Independent Television or NTA or one of the large television networks, because a lot of youth need to hear what you just said. What you just said, it's something that I think every young person in Nigeria needs to hear. I'm a student. I studied mathematics and statistics at my undergraduate level, and currently I'm doing my master's at the Nasarawa State University. Dr. Okolo, the educational system in Nigeria is totally, I don't know what word to use right now. As in, it is bad. It is that bad. I like the masters I'm doing. I don't know if I am to finish. I know I cannot compete globally with my mates outside in other parts of the world. So I have told myself, as soon as I'm done with this masters, I have plans of becoming a professor of mathematics and statistics. So I told myself, if I'm going to further my education, I'm definitely not doing it in Nigeria. Because if I do it in Nigeria, I will come out, I will not be able to compete favorably with other people. Because what's the whole idea of studying a course that you know that you finish and you don't know anything? So the educational system is very bad. And so for me, I'm actually Japan, yes, I am running away from the educational system in Nigeria. So But then and then listening to you, in fact, it was Bonaventure who told me about this this event. And he had, because I think I mentioned to him that me, I have plans of JAPA, and he was like, okay, Stella, you need to attend this event. So I have all what you said today at this meeting, I wrote them down and I have taken them to heart. Because there's something you said that was, even though it sounded funny, but it's true. You said JAPA can turn to SAPA. You know, sometimes you have high expectations and then you go there and things don't turn out the way you expected them to turn out. So thank you very much for organizing this. I hope there's another one. And if there's another of this kind of presentations, if there is, I will invite everyone like I know, so that there'll be more people to listen to you. And I'll need your advice, especially because I don't know. I come from a middle class family and I'm not sure I can afford to pay full tuition for my PhD. So I need I need to get funding for my PhD, get grants. That's the only way I know I can afford to live to JAPA at the moment. However, and I've already started putting in applications, looking out for countries that are willing to give me to fund my PhD proposals in statistics and mathematics. And you know, there's a story in the Bible that talks about the people of Israel leaving the land. You know, they were scattered all over the world. And then Isaiah prophesied that one day they will all come back. You know, there's this way he put it, they'll come back on horseback. Exactly. I feel like this is what is happening to Nigeria now. We are getting scattered all over. People are, in fact, some people don't even mind Ghana, Benin Republic, Togo. Everybody just wants to get out, you know. So I feel like it's like the prophet or the prophecy of Isaiah is happening in Nigeria. People are leaving, but one day, it will be like a whistle call, and everybody will be called back home to add value to the country, especially from what they have learned from where they are. So thank you once more, sir. God bless you, sir. Bye.
Thank you very much, Stella.
All right, thank you, Stella. We're still expecting questions. If you have questions, you can raise your hand. So I don't know if you have to answer the first question.
I can respond to her. Yeah, I can respond to Stella. Okay. I am impressed that she is looking for a PhD in statistics or mathematics. That means she must be a very smart lady, and she spoke like one. So thank you for that observation, Stella. We'll look into that. We will see what we can, how in any way we can help point you in the right direction. Like I said, the idea of this call is not to tell people not to JAPA. No, it is not the idea. The idea okay. I think I almost got kicked out there, but I believe you can hear me now. So my point is that so long as you have you have your plan set up and you're able to monitor how well you're doing and you're able to pace yourself right, you should. I mean, it's an adventure. It's an adventure that has a lot of uncertainties and unpredictabilities built into it. If you want to go and do your PhD, that's fine. At the end of PhD, then what? Because when I talk to people that want to make this journey, I always ask, then what? Then what? Because in 20 years, I can tell you stories. I have seen stories. I have heard stories. I have not just had stories, I have seen stories. So, but we'll see what resources could be available for somebody like you to go get the experience, and then what? Whatever the next one is. Now, the story I wanted to use to buttress the story you told about the Israelites is the story that happened in the book of Ruth. In Ruth, we know about a woman called Naomi. And Naomi actually means sweetness, joy, good things. But in a time like this in their land, her husband Elimelech took her and their two sons, and they went to the land of Moab. So if you Google, you can get stories. Bible students amongst us will remember this story very well. But over the course of time, she lost her husband, she lost her two sons, and she was left with only her daughter-in-law, who happened to be Ruth, a Moabite. And then she had to return back to her land. So, and that is one of the examples where JAPA became Sakta. Because when she came back, people saw her and they said, "Is this Naomi?" She said, "No, don't call me Naomi no more. Call me Mara." Her experience was a bitter one. That is not the lot of anybody here. That's not what we want to wish anybody here. But when you are going to build a house, even a chicken house in your village, you have a plan. When you want to start a business, you have a business plan. If you want to go in a foreign country to live your life, you don't have a plan. That is not smart. That's what we're talking about. Thank you. Is there any more hand up, Bona?
Okay. No hands up again. And I would like to say that this program is the first, actually the maiden edition. This is actually designed for Nigerian young people or youth who are looking forward to travel. And I must tell you that in the last couple of days, we've been able to seek partnership with the NYSC to see how we can drive this message to the people who need to hear it the most. Because we've seen an exodus, or how do I put it, of our young people. I mean, let me be fair, more than 50% of an average young person in Nigeria, his mind is in travel. And I must tell you, I was with a friend who studied in Canada a few days ago. And he actually studied in Canada and now decided that he was working for the school after studying there. And an opening came for Nigeria for a representative of the school in Nigeria. And he decided to take the opening and told the school that he wants to work back in his country, but that they have to pay him in dollar, just like they pay him while in Canada. Now, this man was doing an analysis of what has happened over the years. At this point, if you're actually going to do a program in that school in Canada, you're more like let's say it's a master's program, you're more like, before you can spend something less than 10 million naira by conversion, right? But now, you're well overspending about 20 million naira or more, depending on the program you're running semester. And what this means is that before you go, before you travel, you need to make a very you need to plan very well, because even when they tell you that, okay, you're going to work and actually pay off your bills or your school fees, as it is now, it's more like maybe your living expense that you can actually work to spend. So in essence, what we're trying to do is to, and what Dr. Mezie is trying to do is to sensitize our young people so that before you make that move, you make a proper plan so that you don't go there stranded. I remember the day you was telling me that how can somebody who has a law degree be cleaning bots in there, somebody who is well talented, who is trained, who can actually give more to the country, and you are somewhere doing one job that you are not supposed to, because if you have to spend a number, how many years before you know what's happening, you're actually old. You can't really give the country, what you are supposed to. You've always spent the whole of your active years abroad doing what you are not supposed to do. So that boils down to planning and also knowing your purpose, why you move over there. So I think, let me check the chat box if there's a question so that we can move ahead.
Let me talk about, let me talk about the survey that Pamela is coordinating on the JAPA syndrome through SurveyMonkey. Please let me request that all of us take time to fill out that survey for them. They're trying to gather some information, do some research on the JAPA syndrome and what is driving it and all the issues around it. And we're going to be posting that link with this video everywhere and anywhere on our social media platform so that people could take that survey for them. In Nigeria, it is good for us that people are trying to gather data. The rest of the world is data-driven. It's only in Nigeria that we want to talk about issues that we're using data in a different country to talk about our own country when we can gather our own data and use those to drive policy. So I applaud Leap Africa and Pamela and her team for taking that leadership there. And we'll do everything to support them in gathering that enough data to make that be able to drive this policy agenda. Thank you very much. I saw Victor raise his hand earlier. I don't know if he has a question. Victor, if you do, ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Such an interesting and wonderful presentation. Well, I'll see you there. Doctor, my question is this. Like, I was opportune to be with a lady who sells an egg roll some weeks back. So we actually called her. I was in the midst of friends. We called her and asked her, Madam, how much do you sell your egg roll? She said our egg roll is now 500 naira. I said, no, we used to buy it 300 naira. What happened? All of a sudden, it's now 500 naira. The woman grew angry. Now, what is actually trending in this country is that most prices is now going higher. And this time you even wanted to, okay, let me haggle as a businessman to even see if I can get something from somebody. A lot of people develop short fuse. They develop short fuse reason because they know that things are not even, she told us there vehemently that all the money she spent in buying the flour, the egg, and even the oil she used in frying the egg roll, she will not make it back at the end of the day. So why are we even pricing it? You discover that the place, the country as a whole at large, is no longer safe for anybody to even stay. Nobody is smiling. Everybody wants to leave. Everybody wants to leave. And what I want to actually recommend to us now is, I think we should have another second class on this, so that we can invite a lot of people. There are a lot of people who can invite to listen to this. Because I know by the time they have to listen to this, they will have a second thought about wanted to JAPA. Because the list of my friends that were there together, they were like, you see that why I don't want to stay back in this country. Nobody seems to be happy. Nobody seems to be happy. And the next thing that will be happening to us now, people, your next door neighbor might even be the next kidnapper. You will not know because they have not seen anything to it. Nobody is really happy with the economy. So I think by the time they listen to your presentation, if you can have another class of it or another rescheduled time for another presentation, they will still have a second thought about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, remember that the idea for me is not to discourage people from doing what they have to do. The economy is bad. We try to lay out all of this. We are not in denial. Things are bad. So people have to do what they have to do. That is in the best interest of their families and their loved ones. So, but for us as a leadership consultant arm of Right Place, In Mezie Okolo Leadership Academy, what we try to do is to help people to be able to make the right decisions in anywhere they find themselves. So working with the youth, coming from a leadership perspective, my job is to look at it as what can the government do to make life easier for people, so that people can make decisions and not feel compelled. If you look at my slide, I call them displaced people. Some of our people are going to JAPA because they feel displaced in their own country. There is no hope. There is hopelessness in the land. So when there is no hope, it's game over now. I mean, people can hold on to hope and live a good life based on when people have become hopeless in their own land. It's a problem. So the issues on the land are real. The problems are palpable. All of us shop from the market. So, but the point is, understand that even where you're going, there are human beings there, good, bad, and ugly. They have a system that works there. They have the rules and the laws that guide them. There are things you can access, there are things you cannot access. You're going to be a second-class person in that land anyway, for a long time. Even if you have spent 20 years and travel on American passport or British passport, there are certain things, certain places you can't even go. There are certain things you can't access. There are people who never understand your accent, no matter how refined you think you are. And there are people who are never going to accept your color. I'm not going to like you just for your color. But in the midst of all of these things, you have to balance, be smart. That's what I'm saying. Be smart, be informed. Make sure that it lines up with your life agenda, so that you don't go and make, and if you do make mistake, at any point review, re-strategize, be smart about it. That's what we're saying. But the experience, yes, a lot of us need to go and get some experience overseas. A lot of our people need to go overseas and get some experience and come back so we can build Africa. That's what I think. I am not saying it has to be you, but some of us actually do need to go overseas, get some experience, and then come back. And then see that there is no place like home. And maybe then we can get a better crop of leaders who will take Africa to the next level. But right now, we are in trouble. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I think we have Ifeoma one for raising her hand. Ifeoma, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Mine is not. Anyway, I have a question at the end of my own contribution. Yeah. I recently traveled out of Nigeria, and I want to add to what he just said. Actually, while in Nigeria, it wasn't really easy, but going to a new country, and then like he said, you do things that you don't see, that while in Nigeria, things you didn't see yourself doing, you have to do it in another country because you have to make ends meet, you understand? And then like he said too, no lateness, you have to meet up with time, you have to put in work to be able to earn a living, you understand? And then apart from that, you pay your taxes, and the taxes are not little money, you understand? What you pay as tax here is a lot of money. So I am asking a question: what is Nigerian government doing, or what is Right Quality doing to help the youth, you understand, to help the youth so that they don't really have to, so that they can improve, as in, even if they don't travel out of the country, they can stay in Nigeria and even make money in pounds and dollars, you understand? Because so many people going, like here, most of us have gone into tech so that we can be able to stay at home. You don't even have to go out to work, stay at home and make your money. But while in Nigeria, what are they doing to make people back home to be able to raise money or do something to be able to make their money in pounds or dollars? That is my question. Thank you.
That's a beautiful question. And thank you for calling in from the UK. We appreciate people like you. The idea, the first comment I would make to that effect is that this program is actually being organized by Dr. Mezie Okolo Leadership Academy. So it is actually the academy that is putting together this series. And this is going to be a series. We're going to be having a lot of series. We just came back from a meeting with NYAC this afternoon before we jumped onto this call. We are hoping to be able to work out some programs with the NYSC so that we can start engaging from the corpus. We have a lot of ideas about what we can do with them in the area of skills acquisition and entrepreneurship development. This is the area we think that the country needs to invest in. And so we're already mapping out strategies that we're going to carry out as an academy. We're going to be involving other stakeholders, and even the government will hear from us in some of the things that we need to, that we are planning to be able to launch out. Our idea is if we can start with the corpus, then we can grow, as the days go by. So as far as trying to help our people get skills, I think that is the best thing that can happen to a young man. If you acquire skills that while you are in your village of Africa, you are making dollars. And let me tell you, I recently made a post that I called the African Dream. So if you go to my Facebook, Mezie Okolo, you will be able to see the article I made it, I think it was last week or so. I called it the African Dream. In that article, I said it very clearly that if dollar changes for 100 naira, living in America will be an error. If pound changes for 100 naira, you will realize that you are working for nothing. So the only reason it makes sense to us now is because the dollar is changing for 1,500. So if I send $1, if I send $1,000, I have 1.5 million naira. I feel like a millionaire. I feel like a millionaire from $1,000. So if the economy of Africa stabilizes, and this is why I asked that question, is this modern day slavery? So when I asked that question, I was being deliberate in that questioning because you find out that when you begin to look into leadership and the history of nations and see what the things that are happening at the macro level, you find out some of these things are really politically engineered.
Wait, let me put it on. Okay.
Sorry, Nigeria happened to me there. So I said all of a sudden, Europe needed help with England needed help with work in different categories, and they create different categories of visa. So the rest of the world, when they need help with what they want, they create opportunities for it, and they call it a name. And this is why I kept asking the question: is this opportunities to JAPA? The reason our people are JAPAing in our numbers is because there is the opportunity to JAPA. And the reason that we are having multiple opportunities to JAPA is because the countries that we are JAPAing into need help in those areas of work. So when you now come into a country, let me use myself as an example, a pharmacist. You come into a country, and then the only job they have for you is in the warehouse, loading containers and offloading containers. And they're paying you per pounds. You send pound home, it becomes money. And let me also tell you that the money that they are paying you, by the time you pay your bills and pay your taxes and pay all of that, and then you see how much is left in that country, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. It only becomes a lot when you send it here. And so, and then if the economy here has improved, and then it is not a lot to there and it's not a lot to here, then you ask yourself, all these things that you go through, and just for $100, is it worth it? At that point, you now begin to realize that is this not another glorified form of slavery? So when you begin to ask some of these questions, at that point, then you start planning and suggesting about what should be your next level. And so this is where I'm coming from. At the end of the day, make sure that the decisions that you make, that you challenge them per time, and they are moving you in the direction that you want your life to go. And that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that you can look back and be happy and proud of the decision that you have made and sustained over the period. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Okolo.
I
don't know if we have another question. If you do have, you can raise your hands. So far, I don't think
I saw some hands up.
It's still a formal hand that was up.
Did I answer her question? Did I answer Ifeoma's question?
Ifeoma, can you hear me? Okay, I think.
Ifeoma, did I answer your question?
Okay, I think she's not.
Did we lose her?
No, she's still here, but I don't know why she's not responding.
Ifeoma, did I answer your question? Ifeoma, unmute yourself. Did I answer your question? Hello, did you lose network?
Yes, you answered my question. You answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Is there any other question, brother?
All right, guys. In the absence of no other question, I think Doctor has done justice to today's edition. And just like I told you earlier, this is the median edition, and we're working so hard to make sure that people who this are actually designed for, get the information. One thing very important is planning. And in whatever you do, just like Doctor has said, and if you're traveling abroad, it's good you have to plan. Of course, in Africa, we like our home. No matter how we feel at any point, wherever we are, we're supposed to come back home. So if you have a very good plan as to your reverse JAPA, because we're talking about now those who have gone abroad, and how do you come back and actually give back to where you came from? Because I used to tell people, see, if all of us leave and you're not coming back, maybe by the time you come back, the Chinese would have taken over your backyard, because the way they're even coming into other people's country is more almost like Nigeria, even considering that their own population is more than ours. So what Doctor has said in essence is that while you are JAPAing, make sure you have a plan, and that plan must include reverse JAPA, which is very important. So on this note, thank you everybody for joining. We will inform you on the next edition, even as we look forward to, we've actually established a relationship with the NYSC, and we'll be coming up with more of this conversation. And whenever we come on board with it, we'll make sure that you get the information. Thank you very much for participating. We appreciate you. And this is coming from Right Place. And here we have Right Place Synergy, where we do water purification, business development, training of any kind. Also, we have Right Place Health, where we're talking about how we can actually eradicate waterborne diseases in Africa. So you can do well to partner with us, in any area at all. And on this note, I want to thank you for being part of this. Bye for now.